Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello everybody, welcome to our Friday Product Owner and TGIF episode this week with Amruta Berry. Hey Amruta, welcome back.
Hello, my pleasure, thank you.
So product owners, we were talking about this week already, how we need to help and coach product owners. And we're probably going to talk about that again right now in today's episode. So we'll talk about a great product owner in a minute. But first, share with us what might have been potentially the worst product owner anti-pattern you've witnessed in your career, Amruta.
Sure, I would love to share that. So what I've seen is that many product owners, as you know, product owner is such an important role in any agile team, and they're the ones who are providing us the, why are we here, or why are we set to build this product, our purpose, and it is so important that they realize that their job is to concentrate on requirements and make those requirements as simple or as valuable for the customers as well as the team to implement. So what I have seen, mainly with product owners is they get into the anti-pattern of trying to solution, the details. And when they're in refinement sessions, and they're presenting the requirements, they sometimes get into, solutioning, and they try to cross-question that, okay, you came up with this, but do you think that, this would have been better? Which is good if you're keeping the conversation healthy. But if you're going too much into details, the engineers are not really fond of these kind of solutioning provided by the product owner, because the engineers are far more capable, and they want to be self-driven, and they want to come up with their own solutions. They don't want somebody to hand over the solution to them. And that is where I feel that micromanaging starts to creep in, and nobody likes that. And I've seen a lot of team members getting really offended by it, especially engineers.
Yeah, absolutely. And that can create deep conflict in the team.
Yes.
And conflict isn't even the worst that could happen, because in those situations, what may also happen is that engineers just sit back and don't do anything else than whatever is on the ticket. And maybe the solution on the ticket is totally wrong because it's created by someone who's not developing the system, right? Even though they might have done that in the past. It leads to the engineers being kind of disengaged, right? Because if I don't have a say on the solution, like what do I care? I'll just implement whatever is in the story.
Absolutely. And for one of my teams, there was a point where the environment was so hostile that people started avoiding the refinement sessions or the planning sessions, because they knew that, whatever thoughts or ideas that they are putting forward, they're not really going to be counted upon.
Yeah, and that's a great example of disengagement, right? Like, just don't want to hear it, just leave it behind. So for Scrum Masters out there that may be dealing with this kind of problem right now as they hear us, what can you share with us to help Scrum Masters help those product owners?
Sure. So first of all, like I said, I have, in real life encountered this kind of product owner. And my first step was to make this product owner realize what they were trying to do. Because that realization is also something that, sometimes you don't really, have any idea like what is happening. You need someone else to point that out to you, so that okay, maybe this is the reason that the team is not participating, or maybe this is the reason why people are not coming to my meetings. So first step is to make that realization that the role is to present the why. Just leave that, how to, the role is to present the, what we are trying to do, and, just leave that solutioning to the team, so that was where I started. And my next step was to, provide the product owner with trainings, which made the product owner understand what that role consists of, what that responsibility is towards the team, how they could ensure participation. Because, I am there to facilitate. A Scrum Master is always there to facilitate. But at the same time, you need that kind of rapport or that kind of engagement to be put forward from a product owner also, to have that team participate. If they just direct someone and just, put the answers right out, nobody's going to like it. So
I remember once here on the podcast somebody mentioning that a product owner on purpose left the stories undefined going into refinement. So they wrote the story, but they didn't put all of the details there on purpose because they wanted the team to come up with questions that would then be added to the stories. And I thought that was a brilliant idea.
Absolutely.
Because the PO is engaged with the process, right? They are writing something which is not complete, but then they are answering questions. But the questions come from the team, and the product owner can never predict what are the questions the team needs to answer. But they can trigger the questioning. They can trigger the dialogue. And I thought that was such a brilliant technique to get the team to engage with the product owner, as well as keeping the product owner engaged with the team by listening to their questions and being available to answer them.
And the communication flowing, because that is what the refinement refinement meeting is all about. Because if you understand what the requirement is, and if you are able to contribute towards, adding value to that feature or that function that you're developing, nothing like it. So that was my step 2, to provide some training for the product owner to understand what is crucial in this role, soft skills, also the technicality of this role, responsibility towards the engineers, because some people really don't understand. Engineers have their own thought process. You can't just tell them that this is the task and be done. You need to provide challenges. At the same time, you need to, like you said, ask them for solutions, or, allow them that space to come up with that solution. So it's very, very important that they realize what they need to, present in, or how they need to facilitate sessions. And especially when, we were in the pandemic, it was so difficult, first of all, to have people engaged in this virtual world, have them on camera, because off camera you really don't know if people are really listening. So I gave her, these tips to have the camera on for refinement sessions, planning session, and retrospective. So it's okay. I understand that, we were all struggling with pandemic, and, everything was going in parallel. You also had family to take care of. So maybe, at stand-ups, everybody's not available on camera. But, these meetings, it was made a mandate to, be on camera, so that everybody could see you. Sometimes you also react of each other's expressions, and you need to, feel that energy, and that comes from when, you're on camera, when you're seeing each other, and you can,
relate to each other as people as well, right?
Right. And, you beat that virtual world and try to be in that same room. You be more proactive. At the same time.
So Amruta, we could be here a lot longer, but we do have one last question that I want to make sure we have time to cover. And that is the question of a great product owner. So describe for us the best product owner you've ever worked with. How did they work?
Certainly. So the best product owner, I'll say my product owner that I'm working with currently, she is so far, in my experience, the best product owner, and I'll let you know why. The kind of presence that she has in the team, the rapport that she has with the team members, the kind of facilitation techniques that she uses, and especially like I said, not everybody is back to office yet. So, visual facilitation becomes very, very important. And we have this very nice tool that we use. It's called MURAL. And, it becomes very, very obvious to facilitate and encourage participation using these tools. So be it any kind of a story mapping session, or sessions where we need to brainstorm on requirements, or even roadmap sessions, she is so proactive in using these visual information radiators, and providing a proper like acceptance criteria and stories. Now, these acceptance criteria is again not dictated by her, but in the refinement sessions, like you said, the solutions are provided with the from the engineers. She comes up with great questions where the it really forces the engineers to come up with good answers, or think basically, and be creative about what we need to implement and what could create value. So I think a brilliant a brilliant product owner needs good facilitation skills, good technical knowledge, subject matter expertise, as we say. At the same time, they should be able to recognize or draw uh, their recognize the capabilities of the team, and draw that capability out in the refinement sessions, or wherever it is required. They should empower um, the engineers, or whoever is the
And
developers.
motivate, right? Not just empower, but also motivate, because
Exactly.
it's not enough for them to know they can participate. They need to want to participate.
You're right. And she's a huge fan of liberating structures, and she constantly applies different kind of facilitation techniques from liberating structures. And
Yeah.
it's
And that's
never.
actually a very good point. I don't think that we've had this here often enough on the podcast, where we talk about the product owner as a facilitating role. And it is a facilitating role. If you
It
think
is,
about
absolutely.
the idea that, product owner brings the overall vision and what we are trying to achieve, and then the team brings the how do we get there? You really need to be a great facilitator to get that conversation going and to keep it going throughout the whole project or delivery cycle.
Absolutely. And like you said, the meetings never get boring. Then people want to be there, and people want to provide solutions. At the same time, as soon as even now in the sprints, like, people don't wait for a demo meeting to really demo what they have come up with. As soon as we're done, or if any engineer is done with whatever story that they're working on, they just book time with a product owner, have a quick demo, because we can get quick feedback. And in the same sprint, if it is possible, we could implement that feedback and come up with what exactly the product owner needs. So that rapport is so important. You want people to approach you. So I think that
Absolutely.
is beautiful, and that is what I really, really like about her.
Yeah. So many great qualities in that product owner. Don't let her go, whatever happens.
Oh no,
Amruta,
yeah.
it's
Absolutely.
been a pleasure to have you here on the show this week. We're getting close to the end, but before we do go, do share with us, where can people find out more about you and the work you're doing?
So I have my LinkedIn profile shared, so everybody could see that. I have a Twitter handle too, and unfortunately, I haven't had time to really get to blogging, but that is what I aim to do next, and hopefully we'll meet at some Agile conference.
Absolutely. We'll put the link on the show notes so that people can connect with Amruta, and why not ask some follow-up questions and ask what conferences she's going to, and get together, share your stories. Amruta, thank you very much. Thank you for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
One more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast is over, but there's a lot more we have to share. we have developed our own membership site where you find a community of active and engaged Scrum Masters. In this site, you get access to exclusive content and get to interact with us, your podcast host, as well as the best Scrum Masters in the world. So join us at scrummasterpodcast.com and keep this podcast free of advertising. See you next week for one more full week of Scrum Master tips and tricks. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.